To the Winona Public Library. My name is Tricia Werenberg. I am the Youth Services Librarian here. I am very excited to have you all here tonight for the grand reopening of our space and for the unveiling of this mural. I do want to start by recognizing the El Hindi family and Solomon Song for donating the funds necessary to complete this project in memory of Solomon El Hindi. All right, so some of you may know there is an article that's kind of hidden over in that area there. But this December marks the 100th anniversary of the Children's Department. 100 years ago in the first week of December, yes! 100 years ago during the first week of December, they opened the space for the very first time. It was December 15th, 1921. So we're almost there, we're very close. This building was actually built and opened in 1899, so this space was used for a few different other things in the first 22 years of its life in this building. A couple of them I'll just mention because I think they're interesting. This was used as a headquarters for the Red Cross during World War I. And this was also used as a lecture hall that was called Laird's Library Room, and it hosted a number of notable speakers from across the country. So, this space has kind of changed throughout the years, but the spirit of the space has remained steadfast. So while we were doing our construction in this space, some of you might not know we did a complete overhaul of this space this year. And while we were doing our construction, we came across a few mysteries, as you always do during construction projects. And as you're okay, buddy. And as any good librarian to solve those mysteries, I did some research. And when I did that research, I found the article that I'm referencing from the Winona Republican Herald from November 26, 1921. And in that article, Miss Mary Holmes, who is the very first children's librarian of the Winona Public Library, is quoted as saying, "A children's room is considered an essential part of the public library because it recognizes the right of the child to a place in the community. The children's room belongs to the children of Winona." Obviously I cried when I found that, because I am proud to say that 100 years later, that sentiment is still at the forefront of what we do, from the books on our shelves to the services we provide to the spaces that we create. And this mural that we are going to unveil tonight is a huge step forward in creating positive and safe spaces for the youth of Winona. I am very proud to have been a part of this project. The artists who worked on this are so talented. I hope they feel a sense of ownership, not only of the youth department, but of the library, and your artwork will now remain in the library. So I hope you are so proud of that. It is such an accomplishment, and I'm so excited to share those with you tonight. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton to my partner in this project, Sarah Johnson, to talk a little bit about the project.
Thank you. I'm going to put my mask down just so you can hear me a little bit better. I have had my third boost, so I'm healthy. I am so honored to be here, and I'm so proud of the work of the young artists in this room. If you are an artist, please raise your hand. So before we get to what I know everybody's here for, which is the actual unveiling, I want to take the opportunity to share just a little bit about really kind of the process behind this and the purpose of this. So I'm Sarah Johnson, and I am a community engaged artist with the Joy Labs. So you can find me at thejoylabs.com. And my work is really to work with community to build and create things that help support a more welcoming, vibrant, and healthy community. Mental health is a passion of mine, and so I like to make sure that mental health is infused into things that we're talking about. So when I'm talking about mental health is just how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Mental health is how we think, how we feel, how we act. We all have mental health. It's not a strange, weird thing that some people have on some days, right? Mental health is how we think, feel, and act. We all have it. There's things we can do to better and worsen our mental health. One of the major things we can do to better mental health is to be in community and to know how to care for ourselves and each other. And these mural pieces really exemplify that. So, if mental health is just how we think, feel, and act, it means that's just how we are, right? So that also means when we ask, how are you, and mean it, we're asking somebody about their mental health. So I want to give you an opportunity to actually practice talking about mental health tonight, and maybe stretch yourself a little bit to actually talk to someone you don't know that you didn't come with, and simply ask them, how are you? And give them a couple of minutes to go, how am I doing? How am I doing? I'm feeling excited and a little nervous and proud. How are you doing? So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. You might want to move around the space to find someone, ask, how are you? Let them answer honestly, and then they're going to ask you. So listen for the chime for that deep breath when you're done. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but a reminder to take a deep breath in and out, because it's generally a good thing. How was that? Is that okay? Were you able to do that? All right. So if we want a community that is thriving, I am going to encourage you to practice asking how are you and meaning it more frequently. Instead of that thing that we do, we're like, how are you? Fine, great, right? Busy, right? So really spending that couple extra minutes. I think I gave you a minute and a half. If we spend a minute and a half more often just being with each other, I really think we can hold each community. So without further ado, I want to tell you a little bit about the process that happened here. So if back in September, when this room was still all torn apart, I came and painted the deconstructed rainbow here that winds around the door frame. If you haven't looked on this side, I invite you to do that, because it's the intersection of a lot of goodness. But this set the color palette for the project. In early October, our voices came to this space, and we drew on the floor and brainstormed all kinds of ideas, and really started with the idea of, what do you think a young person who's maybe having a bad day needs to hear when they walk in this space? And so they designed the middle panel and then set the design for the rest of the series. In November then, was it at the high school with the GSA, that group then decided what they wanted their design to say. It was like a well-oiled machine. I think it took them an hour and a half to figure it out. And then after that, got to work with art students at the Alternative Learning Center. That crew designed their design in less than an hour. So then it was the fun part of just painting. And I'm happy to say we only spilled 1/2 a full can of purple paint. Just one. Not saying any names.
You gave yourself away.
We got the whole thing cleaned up. Right, Emily? You can't even tell.
Can't even tell.
Can't even tell. Okay, so who's ready to see the art? We start on the left with the panel designed by the high school GSA.
All right, let's see how well I can do this.
The middle panel designed by Our Voices. And the final panel by the students at the Alternative Learning Center. Now is the time that we get to celebrate the artist, take some pictures, some selfies with it, hang out, drink some cocoa, enjoy community. Maybe ask another few people how they are. Anything else you want to add?
I would just say if the artists want to come up and hang out by their paintings, if you want to answer any questions about them, I'm sure lots of people will have questions about your designs, how you got to the process, and to just congratulate you on this huge accomplishment that you all have done. Thank you for making this art to hang up in the library. I'm so lucky to have this in my workspace every day. And just